All right, so first we're going to make 3 layers for our foreground. First line across the front, and I'm going to create 2 lines extending larger as they get closer to the bottom of my page, because that makes it look like the road's getting bigger as it gets closer to us. Then I'm going to do the same technique for that middle ground, an arch across the middle, and then the final background I'm going to do 2 arches to make it look like there's hills in the background, and it looks like my street or my road is now kind of extending way back into space in my picture. Then I'm going to do details up front in this foreground. I'm going to create 3 arches for headstones with RIP in them, because things that are up close get bigger and more detailed. So I'm going to take the time to put the detail. I'm going to do a square with a triangle top for my house, and I'm going to do 2 layers for the roof so that it looks a little more 3D. Then I'm going to create some pipes by creating like the letter L twice and triangles at the top, and then a rectangle and a triangle at the top. I'll make a rectangle door with a circle knob and look like the door is creaking open. You can kind of color the back behind the door in. Then I will create some X shapes, but if you create the X shapes 2 times, so it looks like 2 boards, it'll look like it's a boarded up window. So that's kind of how I like to do that next, and then add the little lines around it. The top one, I'll do a little triangle window. And next I'm going to create big long rectangles so it looks like stairway and a final chimney, and I'm going to put a ziggy line inside of it so it looks like it's kind of cracked. I'm going to write beware and then do a ziggy line, rectangle line for a sign underneath it. I'm going to create some grass detail under all that stuff in the front. Again, up close, I want detailed lines. I'll do some wiggly triangles and wiggly half circles for my bushes. And then I'm going to create some trees in the background. So I'll just do 2 curving lines up and then wiggly lines coming from that at the top to make it look like the leaves have already fallen, just spooky trees in the background. So now I've really built up my foreground, middle ground, and background. I think up front I want to add a little bit more, so I'm going to do circles with curved lines on top of them and stems coming out so it looks like there's some pumpkins up close. I'm going to do a circle moon in the background and create some characters, any kind of characters you want. I'm going to do some ghosts, and to do a bat I do a circle with 2 arches and then make a couple extra arches underneath, and you can even add 2 lines on top of their head to create little ears coming out from those bats. To color, I'm going to color as soft as I can. I'm going to barely touch the paper in the background because I want it to look like it's very distant. It's way back there. In the middle ground, I'm going to push down a little bit harder, but not as hard as I can yet. So I'm just kind of filling it in, medium toned. And this is called value, when we create something that's light, medium, and even dark. So that's what I'm going to do next is some of my details I'm going to color really dark so they stand out. The bushes I'm going to color dark. And again, just kind of filling the whole shape in when I color. It's always good to do that so it looks neat for the viewer. Then I'm going to color the bottom foreground really dark as hard as I can. I'm going to push down with that crayon and make it look like it's really up close. And again, everything's just playing off that foreground, middle ground, background, building up the foreground, making it really dramatic colors. And then when you get to that middle ground, that's when it starts to fade, and then the background should be super faded. So taking the time to really color the foreground really dark helps enhance your picture. Next, I'll add some of my detailed coloring up front, just kind of pushing down again as hard as I can. the background, adding those trees. If you want to make lights look like they're on, you can color inside the rooms yellow. I'm going to do some dots for stars up in the sky. And then I'm going to take my black and lightly shade the sky, because if you push down lightly, those stars are still going to show through, which is kind of nice. You don't have to break your hand coloring as hard as you can, and it's just going to look like a faded sky in the background. I'll color in the street or road, whatever you call it, medium tone in that middle ground. And then up close, I'm going to push down hard again. And that's my finished piece. Hope you liked it, and good luck making your spooky foreground, middle ground, background.